Hi guys. I'm gonna give it a couple minutes um, before I start talking. My glasses are a little dirty. Hold on. How's everyone doing tonight? I'm a little nervous, but I guess that's a sign. I don't know. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do what scares me. All right. Now I'm just primping. Okay. Well, when you jump on, be sure to do hashtag wildly alive. Um, if you're watching the replay, do hashtag wildly alive. This is probably going to be a good amount of time, but it's probably also going to be split up in multiple parts. Um, because, yeah, and be sure to say hi when you jump on because I can't see who's on. I wonder if I can on my phone. I have my phone up too. I wonder if I can see who's on. I wonder if that's possible. No, doesn't look like it. I can see that I'm on. All right. Well, be sure to say hi when you jump on. Um, this is going to get personal, guys. And hey, Becky. And definitely do hashtag Wildly Alive if you're watching or watching the replay. Today, I'm going to share part of my journey, the beginning of my journey when it comes to my health and my body, and more specifically, the experience I have had with my asthma, with primary ciliary dyskinesia, and with vocal cord dysfunction, all the way back to the beginning. So it is going to be a few times. And, if this isn't your jam, that's okay. It doesn't hurt my feelings. This is my life. But I have learned a lot, I've grown a lot, and I feel like it can be a lot of good lessons for other people. Should I turn off that light above me? Does that glare really bad? What do you think, Becky? What do you think? Is that glare real bad? On my glasses. I can turn off that light. But it's going to be personal. Um, but like I said, I feel like there's a lot of good lessons that can come up in this for other people. And, illness, chronic illness, degenerative, terminal, it's scary. It's scary for people to face and it's scary to talk about. And people in our society, sick people, oftentimes get pushed aside. Um, like, for example, when COVID first started, gonna put that on mute. When COVID first started, I posted publicly on my personal page that, um, thank you, Becky, that part of what hurt so bad is that it felt like my life was dispensable. Um, because honestly, I thought it would kill me. My family thought it was going to kill me. My best friend thought it was going to kill me. Like when I got it, I believed it was a death sentence. And the amount of people who were just like, well, only the old and sick get it, are dying from it, was devastating. It was devastating that that's what my life meant to people I cared about. And I posted that publicly. And then somebody I had known for years commented on it, and she was trying to argue that you can't stop life for the virus, but she basically just confirmed. And so I've decided to share my story because it shouldn't be stigmatized. And like I said, there's been a lot of lessons in this, a lot of growth. Um, all right, I see more people jumping on. So when you jump on, be sure to say hi, do hashtag wildly alive. If you're watching the replay, do hashtag wildly alive and buckle in because this is a long one. Like I said in the thing, it's going to be probably a few because I'm not going to be able to get through it all in one, and that's okay. I'm nervous. Check out my shirt. I showed it to you guys once before. Woo, woo. Oh wait, this side. There we go. Though I have to say, I wore this to work today, and I didn't realize how much attention I was drawing to my ladies. Oops, but that's okay. It's whatever. I guess it's, whatever. It's fine. Nobody was rude about it, but I was aware. Okay, awkward. Moving on. All right, so here we go. Do I really start that early? Yeah, I feel like I have to. So I was premature, but I wasn't premature enough to for it to impact my lungs. I was like a month premature, but I have been chronically ill since I was born. In Illinois, as a baby, when you have asthma, essentially, they this is old. Like, remember, I'm 30. I'm going on 35 years old, so this was a long time ago. They wouldn't diagnose babies with asthma, and so they just said I had chronic bronchitis till I was 4 years old. But I spent time as a baby in the hospital. Um, and I've spent a shit ton of language. I spent a lot of time in the hospital growing up. So that's not really a surprise. It's going to be a theme here. But until I was about 4 years old, I had what they called chronic bronchitis. And then at 4 years old, I vaguely remember going to the hospital. Um, Maybe I made that up. I don't know really. But that was when I got diagnosed. And the really fast forward a little bit, like at that point, I was already doing NABs, I was already chronically ill. But when I started to get into school and I think about my school experience as somebody who was chronically ill, that's when I realized a lot of the obstacles that I faced and have overcome. And in elementary school specifically, now I lived in Illinois I was born in Denver and then I moved to Illinois when I was like 5 months old. And then we lived in Illinois until I was about 10 years old. I don't remember exactly. Hi, April. Happy to see you. And in school, because they didn't know what to do with me because I was so sick, like they kept just putting restrictions on me. And so I had to I'm thinking back to when I was in Illinois. In Illinois, I wasn't allowed to play recess. So I wasn't allowed to go outside or to the gym with the other kids. If I went to the gym, I had to sit kind of with the teacher, which was really quite unfair. And I wasn't being punished, but my teachers, my doctors, my parents, they were worried about my health. Um, Rightfully so. I was very sick. Uh, mm, and there were so many things I wasn't allowed to do. I wasn't allowed to sit close to the front board because of the chalk dust, because I'm allergic to dust. And so sitting close to the board was bad for my breathing, but I also couldn't see. So there was that, and I desperately just wanted to fit in. And I can remember like in first grade, I was sitting in math class, which is hilarious because I hate math. I'm terrible at it. um, I was sitting in math class and I was having a full blown asthma attack, and I refused to leave because I'd have to go to the office like 3 times a day to either do a nebulizer or take medication, and it was embarrassing. I just wanted to be a kid, and I couldn't be. I couldn't be, and yeah, I remember being in the hospital one year for not St. Patrick's Day, it was Valentine's Day. And her name was Becky Ness. I don't know if we're still friends on Facebook. We were at one point, but she came to visit me and she had like a box full of like the hearts that you put in a box. You know what I'm talking about? The Valentine's box, It was nice. It was nice. Yeah. So that's wow. I might move through this a lot faster. If you guys have questions, please feel free to ask. Because I do tend to talk fast when I'm nervous, and I am nervous. Like this is personal. Like this is my life that I'm displaying to you guys. So if you want me to slow down, let me know. But you know, then well, I'll we're going to move forward. We're going to move into when I moved to Colorado at 9, 10 years old. Um, we, for some reason, had it in my head that we moved to Colorado because I thought it would be better for my health. But then I think I remember at one point my mom saying, like, no, that's not entirely true. Um, Colorado was not better for my at thin air, not good for me. Um, so when we got to Colorado, I it was more of the same, but I got worse. I got a lot worse. And I don't know if that coincides with the stress that my family ended up going through, which is a lie for another day, um, or just moving across the country at 9 years old. I don't know. But at 12 years old, a lot happened when I was in 12, and I don't know the order of this exactly. Um, thank you, Becky. I don't seem nervous. I am nervous. That's okay. Thank you for saying I don't seem nervous. I don't know the order of this exactly, but I know it was when I was 12. I would have these, maybe I was younger, 9? I don't know, between 9 and 12. That's what we'll say. I would have these asthma attacks that would occur out of nowhere in the middle of the night. And I would wake up and just be gasping for air. And I'd call out to my mom, whatever it was, and my dad, and they would come and hold me and take me to the hospital and have me do nebulizers. If you guys have ever seen the movie Fault in Our Stars, where it's towards the end of the movie where the girl in the movie wakes up in the middle of the night and is rushed to the hospital and like her parents come running in, it's very dramatic. That scene gave me serious PTSD because that was my life. And at one point in that, like during one of those, I I blacked out. I passed out. And it wasn't the first time. Well, it might have been the first, but it wasn't the last for sure. And so we went to the hospital and they were like, you're having snap attacks. Turns out that's not actually a thing, but I learned that many years later. Um, basically, they just didn't know what the hell was wrong with me. And so then, I had to take all of these steps to try to prevent that, like sleeping sitting up. This was a point in my life where my doctor had us put everything in bins, plastic bins, and my bed had to be in one of those loud sheets that you cover it in for allergies. But back then they didn't really make them, so it was more like those like pea sheets, you know what I'm talking about? They were really loud. They weren't pea sheets, but that they were really loud. And so I felt like I was always sleeping on a diaper. And then I also had to have them for my pillowcases, and I wasn't allowed to have toys out unless I was playing with them. But then they had to go right back in the bin. And living that kind of sterile life at that age is very sad, you know. It is. It's very tough. Um, and I remember being really little, and my mom still does this actually, but I would start laughing, and then I'd start coughing and wheezing, and anyone who knows me knows I still do this, and my mom would go, "Nikki, stop! You're gonna throw yourself into an asthma attack," because I did many times. There was actually one where it nearly killed me. um, but that's okay. And that was also about the time that I nearly died, did die, which was very scary. And I mean, I don't remember anything about that, but I know that for years I was really angry at my mom for it. And I kept saying to her, "You didn't care. You didn't care." And one day she was like, "Why do you keep saying that?" And I said to her, "It's because you didn't cry when I died." And she was just like, "What are you talking about?" And I don't know what you believe. You can believe whatever you want, but this was my experience. Um, that's exactly how I want to die, April. I want to die laughing. um, I remember seeing myself laying on the table, and these doctors and nurses were around me, and my mom was sitting in a chair in the corner watching me die. And she wasn't crying. And so I brought that up to her years later. Sorry. And I was like, "You didn't cry when I was dying. Like, you didn't cry." And she was like, and I told her, what I saw, not realizing what I was telling her. And she was like, I was in shock. She was. Me die. Um, yep. And it was after that point that I met, her name is Dr. Tanya Khan in Denver, Colorado. And she is an amazing pediatric pulmonologist. I have yet to find a pulmonologist that meets her level of epicness. And she kind of took me on, and I remember our first appointment. She sat me down and explained to me what my body was doing, and then she was like, "I want you to write a paper about it because you need to know your body." And she was the first person to ever do that. I didn't know what was happening to me as I was growing up. Like, I didn't understand my body at that time. Um, and it was at that time that these surgeries started. The bronchoscopies started. Um, a lot started there. But I think I'll save that part until next time. But I am going to rewind a little bit because I want to tell you what else was going on at that time around my health. My mom was dealing with her trauma in the only way she knew how. And my mother loves me so much. Um, I'm very thankful to know how much my mom loves me and how much my mom has done for me and sacrificed for me, my brother, and my sister. Um, and I mean, how do you even begin to handle that? I was young. So that was how the young Nikki version of me interpreted her reaction, April. April said, "Seriously, that isn't very good, but your mom was probably dealing with her trauma in the only way she knew how." And I can't imagine what that was like for my mom. I can't imagine. Um, Knowing my mom the way I do now, she's not a crier. And that's fine. She does cry sometimes, but it takes a lot. And so I can't I can't imagine what that did to my mom. I really can't. Really, I can't imagine what watching me be as sick as I have been my entire life has done to her. Because she loves me. I'm her baby, right? Okay. Um, so the other part that I want to talk about, because I think I'll move on to the high school part of this, yeah, I'm in middle schoolish right now, is that the loneliness that came with it, because people don't understand what it's like to be sick, and it scares them. And as a young child being sick who isn't dying, I'm just sick, and I don't look sick. Like, I don't look it. I just don't. I never have. And sometimes I'm really, really healthy looking, and sometimes I'm on steroids and look the way I do right now, which I still look healthy. I just am heavier than I normally am. Um, and it scares people. It makes them uncomfortable. And so I had trouble keeping friends because they didn't understand. Uh, and it was hard for them to to um, to connect to. And also, I mean, it started then. Like, I was so overwhelmed and wrapped up in everything else going on in my life that I think I was a selfish person. I think I was a selfish friend. Not without understanding. Like, that's not what I'm saying. I'm not beating myself up for it. But I think there were times growing up where I didn't have the capacity to be a good friend to people. And it wasn't until I was older that I understood, you know, my body well enough to understand that there were other people in the world. But, you know, it was another thing that occurred, and this started really little. Um, it started really in middle school, is when people started to accuse me of faking it. Happened a lot, a lot. Exactly, April. I mean, most people who are sick don't look it. I'm going to be honest. But people who don't understand chronic illness, who haven't lived with it, degenerative, terminal, whatever, um, it's really hard for them to wrap their head around. And it's scary. And it's okay for them not to understand. I am happy that they don't know what it's like. But it can be very lonely. I forgot what I was saying. Yes, forgot what I was saying. Oh, yeah, faking it. And having people tell me that to my face, hearing the rumors about it, and not just kids either, you know. Oh, she's being dramatic. That was another one I heard a lot. Oh, well, she's, you know, she's not really that sick. Okay. Okay. I've had 21 surgeries. I've been sick. Thank you very much. You know, but it's like, how, where does that even come from? Like, why would that be the thought that you come up with? I don't know. But it was hard. It was really hard. Let's see, we're 21 minutes in. Do I keep going? What do you think? I'm going to wait to hear from you guys. Or should I save the next part for another day? Part two. Mm, okay, I'm going to keep going a little bit because I'm thinking of some lessons that I have learned over this time. Another thing that happened because of growing up as sick as I was, is that people made a lot of excuses for me. And I know that's contradictory to what I was just saying about how people just thought I was faking it, and they, um, yeah, they don't want to deal with things they don't understand. But people, you know, they were like, "Oh, you're faking it, and I don't want to be near you." Okay, okay, Becky. um, I don't want to be near you. But then on the flip side of it, people made a lot of excuses for me. Teachers made a lot of excuses for me. And it's because they wanted to take care of me. I was this little girl. I mean, I'm only 4'11" now. Can you imagine how small I was then? You know, I was this little girl who spent a lot of time in hospitals, and I missed a lot of school. And frequently they would, and then I had all these other things going on that we haven't even talked about. And frequently they would just be like, hey, you know, we're just going to let this test go, or you don't need to worry about that. I honestly have no idea how I got through school. And it's not because I'm not smart. I'm very smart. I just shouldn't have graduated. Even, I mean, that's going to come later, but, and that's one of the things that as I've gotten older, I've really wished wouldn't have happened. Um, I wish that I would have been held more responsible and more accountable for my behaviors in school. And the reason for that is because as I got older, I wasn't able to, short girls, I wasn't able to do things. Like it took me a long time to figure out how to be a student. I know school isn't for everyone, but you know what? I've got straight A's now. Like school is for me and I'm good at it. But it took me a long time to figure that out. It took me a long time to learn how to balance my life and accept responsibility. And um, I don't even know, just so many things. because excuses were made for me. And I mean, I made them too. I latched onto them, but it got to the point where I had to make the decision to not let people enable me anymore. That's really hard to do. Like, let's be honest. Like, if somebody's willing to do something for you and that's what you've allowed them to do for the majority of your life, stopping that and saying, no, I'm not going to let you enable me anymore is really difficult. And my sister's a teacher now, an amazing teacher. Honestly, the best teacher there is, in my humble opinion. And I remember a few years ago, she had a student who was really sick, and the parents of that student got really mad at her because she wasn't letting her not do her work. And my sister was talking to me about it, and she didn't exactly ask, but I said, "Good, Julie, good," because that is one of the things that I regret the most. Like in college right now, even though I've taken, even though I'm like in college English, this was a couple semesters ago now, I had to go online and relearn grammar because I never learned it in the first place. And not, I mean, it's something that's come pretty natural to me. So once I started learning the mechanics, I caught on to it quickly, but I never learned it in the first place because I wasn't forced to. That's crazy. It's crazy. I don't know what the answer could have been because I don't know if I could have handled the same amount of school. Maybe I should have been homeschooled. Maybe I should have been held back. I don't know what the answer is. But I do know I wasn't given any favors by given handouts all the time. It really wasn't. Um, okay, do I go into high school? You know what? Let's do it. We're here. I'm missing the movie I'm watching. That's okay. Let's do it. So, high school, you know what? No, I'm not going to do high school today. I take it back. I'm going to do high school another day because that's when things got real intense. Um, but I really appreciate you guys jumping on and listening. And yeah, my desire in sharing these things with you, sharing my stories with you guys, isn't for pity. It isn't for empathy. To be quite frank, I don't need it. Um, I have worked very hard to I have worked very hard to um, heal and grow and work with my body instead of against it. I have been through a lot for that. And I am not, I don't need it. I'm not hurting. I'm not hurting. I'm sharing these things with you so that if you're going through this and you feel very lonely or scared and confused and like, WTF, you're not alone. This is your this what I'm telling you is normal. Like it's way more normal than you would think. My experiences, although crazy tough, are not unique. Not really. You know, there are other people out there just like me, and I know that. And I didn't know that for a very long time. And so I want people to know that they're not alone. I want people to know that there's hope, and that you can live a very fulfilled, loving, wonderful life while having a chronic, degenerative, terminal disease. You can. I'm evidence of that. And if I can do it, you can do it. Um, and there's a lot of good lessons that I learned along the way. And so that's my desire. That's why I'm doing this. That's why I share everything, is because I want you to know. I want you to know you're not alone and that I'm here for you. Um, please, please, please do hashtag wildly alive in the comments, hashtag wildly alive if you're watching the replay. And if you need anything, you can message me. I'm a message away. Exactly, April. The power lies in how we respond. But sometimes it takes a while to learn how to respond. And there's no shame in that. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to go finish my Princess Bride movie with my running group, and I will talk to y'all tomorrow. Love you.